Mr. Gutierrez, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Rafael Gutierrez. I'm the athletic director here at Montebello High School. My first year as athletic director. I'm a graduate here from Montebello High School. I went on to a junior college, East LA College, and graduated from Cal State University of Long Beach in kinesiology. Came back to my old high school, taught freshman studies, which is a combination of health and safety and computer applications. Assistant coach for baseball for 4 years, head coach for 16 years, and resigned last May to be the athletic director here at my alma mater.
Okay. We're going to get started. What was one of the main things you'd like to preach as a coach down here?
For me, it was always discipline. I think kids have to be show some dedication, discipline, and really show that they had some passion for the game and understood what was expected of them from day one in the fall throughout the whole season. Expressed to have priorities in regards to family, education, and then baseball was sort of the reward for being on the team. Team unity, get to know your players, your coaches a little bit, understand the dedication that's put in for the team throughout the season. And my thing was, hopefully I prepared you for being an adult once you left Montebello High School.
Motivation is something that's pretty difficult to do down here at the high school level. Is there something that you found helpful as a coach that would help spark motivation in an athlete?
I think, reward of success, and I think that comes, the motivation's got to come from the coach, and sometimes you can motivate somebody based on the passion, the love the coach has, the determination, and how you can pass that on to your athletes in regards to, the privilege of actually being an athlete here, representing the school, the community, your family, and understanding that that's one of the top qualities to be in the sport. And hopefully they can see how much I was into it in regards to coaching and having success, and the time I would put out on the field, off the field with fundraisers, their grades, and hopefully the kids would feed off that and understand that, I don't expect you to do all the work and me not to do the work, but the other way was, hey, I'm going to work hard as a coach, as a teacher, as a mentor, and expect you to do the same thing.
Did you see a difference whether with the team, whether if it was with one athlete being motivated and if the whole team was motivated? Did you see a difference with how the team performed?
Oh, definitely. I think a team that's just very flatlined throughout the season or throughout a game, you're going to get mediocre to average results. I think you always had to find some seniors or maybe somebody that can fire kids up, or even a coach. Sometimes you have an assistant coach that plays that role sometimes to fire kids up. But I think kids sometimes need somebody about their age to hopefully get on them and really cheer other teams on and show that there's no individuality in the team and they're going to cheer whether they're playing or not.
Okay. What do you think about superstitions? Baseball is really a sport where superstition gets categorized into a lot, and it really seems to be a thing whether a player is successful or not, and they give a lot of credit to their superstition.
Yeah, I think superstition plays a big part in the mental part of it. I think if you feel that you're hitting well because you're wearing these certain types of batting gloves, and that makes your mind feel like, hey, that's what you're doing well. Whether I remember for me, sometimes if I felt that I would have a certain type of food the day I pitched, and that was sort of my start to my day and things that I would do, then that would be what worked for me. But for players, whether, hey, I did a certain drill that I do the night before I go to sleep, or the day before a game, this is the drill that I like to do, then all those things, I think, more than superstition, are more than superstition. I think plays a big mental part of the game on that.
Okay. Is there a social practice that really plays a factor in a team or an athlete being successful? Whether it be like understanding the game or whether if they're motivated or not?
Yeah, I think for kids, for me it was you gotta, hopefully you know a little bit of history of the game, you understand the game, you understand some of the little things you got to do during a game, whether it's even how to talk the proper terminology, know some history of who founded the sport and who made the sport what it is now. So for me, it's a big factor that at least we would have kids that sometimes didn't even know how to keep score, didn't know certain positions with certain numbers. So from that part, I tell them, I make them do a report on a certain baseball player, and I tell them, hey, you can pick a baseball player of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. I think it made them realize what baseball has come to be now.
Okay. In your experience, do you think an athlete becomes better with discipline in coaching, or if it's just simply passion that gives them the drive?
I think a little bit of both. I think they got to be passionate where, it really means a lot to them. And from there, I think that the discipline to, discipline yourself to whether it's get up early in the morning and run, or go to the weights, or eat a healthy meal instead of, eating something that's not good for you, or hanging out with your friends when you should probably be, working out. So all that, I think it takes so many different things, and those two are two things that are very important to be able to do. Have some passion for it, but at the same time, discipline yourself to put in the time and the effort to be successful.
Okay. When it comes to training an athlete, do you think there's a difference with the training methods? For example, let's say a baseball player and a football player?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think for baseball, there's so much hand-eye coordination, and I think that plays an important part of it. If you don't have that, I think you're not going to be a good fielder, a good pitcher, a good hitter. And when it comes to weights, I mean, for baseball, it's you want to be more flexible, more agile, and be able to have a little more flexibility. Where football, depending on what position you play, you could be a lineman where it's big on push and force, depending, and they're not so worried about being very flexible because they're not actually throwing the ball.
Okay. Technology has really come a long way since in like the last 10 years. You think when it comes to developing an athlete, do you think there's much of a difference in the way coaching is, it's applied now to the way it was back in maybe, let's say, 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think before, we had somewhat a different type of athlete. Sometimes you tell them something, this is what you're doing wrong, you sort of demo it, you demonstrate it, whether it's pitching mechanics or hitting mechanics. And I think now there's so much more. You can do that. And now with all these apps, I mean, I know for a year we had a hitting app that you can fast forward and rewind and put angles on the bat and angles on your legs. And you can now do everything on a projector and break down their swing and videotape. And I think sometimes as an athlete, you can tell them, hey, you're doing this, you're doing this. And unfortunately, it doesn't sink through until you actually show the video and say, this is what you're doing. Look what happened when the ball came, or look what happened, whether it's filmed for football. And I think with technology these days and being so easy to use, you can show it to them, and maybe hopefully that makes them understand, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong. I'm seeing myself do it on video.
So you think your athletes become better as visual learners, or what sort of hands-on while learning their techniques, or just repetition?
Visually, I think a little bit, but I think it's for now, sometimes it depends. I think sometimes you have an athlete that you can, if they just see it, they can fix it. Another athlete needs to go inside the batting cage and, here, throw me the ball, let me soft toss and do it a bunch of times and I'll get it. Where another one, hey, you see it on video, I can fix it to the next game just by seeing that. But you see that, just depends. Some athletes will tell you, if you ask them, they'll tell you what they feel more comfortable, whether it's, I got to do it a bunch of times, or show it to me, and then I think I can fix it real quick.